We start Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 250, the decisive battle in the uninhibited demon-infested Shinjuku Part 22, with an explanation of how Yuta's domain works. Sukuna only got part of it right last chapter. Yuta's able to imbue one of his copy techniques into All-Encompassing Unequivocal Love, making that the guaranteed hit effect, but he still has to access all his other techniques. They're imbued into the katanas around the domain. Each one has a single-use curse technique that he's copied from someone else. That's why the katana vanished after using Thin Icebreaker last chapter. This is kind of awesome, but also kind of a problem. Yuta has access to all his curse techniques in this domain without having to manifest them himself. That pushes him to another level. Sukuna has a second set of arms. Yuta's got a bunch of magic swords. They can both combine curse techniques now. Plus, there's an infinite number of katanas, so Yuta's never going to run out of shots, even if they're only one use each. But he doesn't know which sword contains which curse technique until he holds it, and there is an infinite number to pick from. He's got all these different moves, but that means the odds of getting something specific out of a katana are lower because he's copied so many moves. If he had only copied two really powerful techniques, grabbing a katana would be like flipping a coin, 50-50 odds. But instead, just going off the techniques we know Yuta has copied, it's 1 in 5. Not a bad chance, but hard to rely on. And that's the best case scenario. If Yuta copied everyone in Jujutsu High, he could be at less than a 1 in 20 shot. Add in his enemies, and it gets even worse. This luck-based domain is really similar to Hakari's private pure love train. But instead of gacha, Yuta's just turned this fight into magic blackjack, or possibly Yu-Gi-Oh! Yuta gestures, starting the attack with a Shikigami summoning. 3 Rika-like heads start flying at Sukuna, carried on tiny bat wings. Sukuna manages to hold his ground, the mini Rikas force a circle around the hollow wicker basket. But this distraction let Yuji get close. He lays into Sukuna with a few quick jabs to the side. Sukuna manages to partially block the hit, but there is enough of an impact to draw some blood. Sukuna looks up, sensing another threat coming right at him. Rika is dropping down from above, giant fist ready to land an earth-shattering punch. The ground splinters where she hits, Sukuna just managing to step away in time. Yet somehow, that still hits him. Sukuna can feel blood spurting from around his back. Rika supporting another curse technique Yuta copied, one that creates a damaging barrier on the path she's gone down. And no, that's a fair guess on Sukuna's part, but he got that wrong. The curse technique isn't something Yuta's using on Rika. It's just a bit of the Shikigami summoning technique that made them mini Rikas. That's one he copied from Druve. So yeah, Big Rika cannot create that harmful barrier. Only the small sprites can do that. Back to the battle. Rather than Rika going in for a second attack, now it's Yuta's turn. He jumps up into the air with a massive backflip. But before Sukuna can attack, Yuta starts to vanish in midair. He seems to warp the space in front of him, pulling a curtain of nothing between himself and Sukuna. This is Takako Uro's sky manipulation technique, the one he usually just draws on to use Thin Icebreaker. But given how it warps the air, this kind of invisibility is totally something it can do. Sukuna gets ready to block Yuta's next attack, trying to think over the state of the battle. He's at a disadvantage here. He can't use his domain. While he's gotten reverse curse technique back, the damage from his fight with Gojo has made it less potent. He currently has about the same level of cursed energy as Yuta. Worse, he can't use the world-cutting slash since he still has to keep Hollow Wicker Basket up. The next attack doesn't come from Yuta though. Instead, Rika picks up Yuji in one hand like he's a cheap kid's toy and throws him through the air at Sukuna. Yuji rolls with it like a champ, crossing his arms to keep himself aerodynamic and flying fast. Sukuna's not impressed by this move, but it is only half of what they're going for, because Yuta's now reaching his other side. He pulls back the sky manipulation curtain. He's already got his sword up, ready for a strike. It takes Sukuna some effort to block both attackers this time. He's got to keep his lower hands together for Hollow Wicker Basket. He's still able to catch Yuta's sword and blunt the force of Yuji's kick. But he looks up, annoyed. The first attack wasn't the real problem. Yuji isn't just trying to go for impact damage. He's wrapped his legs around Sukuna's arm, grabbing it with both hands. Yuji's found the gap between Sukuna and Megami's souls, and he can hit that, just like he managed to target Mahito's soul. Now he's trying to wake up Megami's soul, everything Sukuna has been trying to suppress. Sukuna killed Megami's sister Sumiki. He used the bath ritual, all to try and force Megami to just fade away into a shadow he can control. But now, we're back to how we were during that first battle, right after Sukuna first jumped into the new body. With Megami active, Sukuna's cursed energy has been heavily suppressed. All Yuji has to do is fully wake Fushiguro up. Even if Megami can't take control of his body, that'll still end the fight. Without full control of his cursed energy, Hollow Wicker Basket goes down and Yuta can exorcise Sukuna with Jacob's Ladder. It's a decent plan, but Sukuna's worked it out. That could be enough to make sure it doesn't happen. His first move is to slap Yuta back. Even with a sword in hand, Sukuna still got the raw strength to force the swordsman away. Now unbothered, Sukuna reaches up with his grappled arm, trying to grab Yuji's neck. But before Sukuna can throw Itadori off, Yuta has one more nasty surprise in store. Cursed Speech. The force of it makes Yuta cough up a drop of blood, but it is enough to freeze Sukuna in place. It won't last long, but Yuta just needs a second. He picks up another sword, the one with the cursed technique he needs. He lunges forward, the sky contorting, hiding Sukuna from him. Thin icebreaker explodes. Sukuna's rocketed back. The cross is reduced to debris. He's just about able to keep Hollow Wicker Basket up, but his other arms are flailing. He puts his remaining hands up to his head, trying to protect himself from debris. But that's just two of the fighters. Rika's following him, and while she still can't break through Hollow Wicker Basket, she's hitting it with both hands as hard as she can. The force is enough to knock Sukuna down towards the ground, causing more to be destroyed inside the domain. Yuji and Yuta are both running after him, sprinting. 1 second for Sukuna to recover is one too many, but Sukuna's already found his footing and is ready for the pair. Before Yuta can even get close, Sukuna reaches out his hand in a familiar gesture. Both Yuta and Yuji's eyes go wide. They know what's coming. They try to brace themselves against dismantle, but it is still enough to throw them back and leave them bloody. Rika's lurking above, but for the first time since the fight entered Yuta's domain, Sukuna has some room to breathe. He sees Rika's attack coming, grabbing her fist with one hand and kicking her right in the face. For the first time, lines start to appear on Rika's form. The force is enough to force her back too, leaving Sukuna alone. That's the key to this fight now. Sukuna can't just land a fatal blow with his long-range attacks. He needs to touch them to actually end this. Yuta's domain is actually suppressing his technique. They've gotten much better at defense. Sukuna smirks at the two, asking them what they did in the last month to get this good. Yuji starts talking about their effort and perseverance, all that hard work stuff. Yuta accidentally interrupts him, admitting that they cheated. For now, they're not going to make it any clearer. Yuta is sure now that they are still in this fight because of Gojo. If Sukuna was still at full power, he would have hit them so much harder that they would have no time to heal. Yuji's worried about the idea of how bad things are going to get if they can't take down Sukuna here. It is Rika who makes the next move though, charging forward. Sukuna puts up an arm to block her, but Yuji has ducked around the side to go for a few more punches. With all four of Sukuna's arms occupied, his torso is unprotected, and Yuta goes for the shot, charging forward with his katana, and he sees a manga panel. Sukuna tries to punch Yuta back, but he ducks, swinging to the left and landing a hefty strike. Sukuna did not see that one coming. Yuta copied Charles Bernard's Clairvoyance Curse technique. The mangaka is glaring at his draft outside, trying to use it to work out what's happening in the fight. With Sukuna hurt, Yuji is ready to follow up his friend's attack. This time, he gets the first really successful combo on Sukuna. Everyone hits. Yuta's sword from the left, Rika's gigantic fist from above, Yuji's double-handed blow from his right. Sukuna is actually starting to take some heavy damage. If they can keep this pressure up, this could end up being a winning strategy. Trying to turn things around, Sukuna tries to think over all the techniques he's seen Yuta use, or suspects he's got access to. There's Jacob's Ladder, Sky Manipulation, the Mini Shikigami Summoning, Cursed Speech, and Clairvoyance. Those are definitely the 5 big techniques we know Yuta has. But we still don't know everything about copy. How easily can Yuta copy techniques? And how many can he keep? He's met a ton of Jujutsu sorcerers. He could have almost anything, and it makes Sukuna's next thought potentially wrong. Sukuna considers the idea that Yuta may have copied Gojo's Limitless. That would be the most powerful curse technique that is potentially in play here. Sukuna dismisses the idea though. Yuta should not be able to control the full power of Limitless without the 6 eyes. But remember, in Yuta's domain, he can create combinations. If he copied both, he can use his own technique to manifest the 6 eyes and grab the sword for one last shot of Gojo's legendary curse technique. That would be amazing. And Yuta himself set up that idea. He was the one who explained that the Six Eyes were what let Gojo control the massive amounts of curse energy needed for the Limitless without losing any. In theory, Yuta has more cursed energy than Gojo. He just didn't have the Six Eyes to manage it effectively. If he copied the Six Eyes, Yuta's version of Hollow Purple could be even stronger than Gojo's. But remember what we said about the odds of these swords. For this to work, Yuta still needs to find a sword with the Limitless inside. And our track record with fight-ending swords is already off to a bad start. For now at least, that is not Yuta's plan. His first instinct is to catch his foe off guard, pulling a curse technique Sukuna hasn't seen and can't expect. And he's got something in mind already. He grabs a katana off the ground. Yuta grins. It is exactly what he wanted. He charges forward, a blade in both hands this time. He pulls another sky curtain in front of himself, covering his position from Sukuna. Rather than trying to sneak around his back though, Yuta stabs straight ahead, using the sky to hide his attack angle. Sukuna grabs the sword one-handed, just an inch or less from his face. A second later, and his second hand is on the incoming katana. He stopped Yuta's attack, but that's when Yuta calls out his technique's name, Cleave, and lines start to materialize across Sukuna's face over his hands. The ancient sorcerer can't quite believe it. Yuta has copied Sukuna's own curse technique. We are seeing copy be taken to its utmost capabilities in this fight. And again, I pray Yuji can do more than just be a pest to Sukuna. It's about damn time. Let me know what you guys are hoping for here in this fight in the comments. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.